That snaps for losers, man. I don't get involved in that stuff, but
Angel Rashad Milligan rolling out.
That's a good question.
Brandon,
We
you want one
can't,
quick question?
we can't ask Rashad questions.
Yay! It's just funny, certain everything. Anyways, the Atlanta Hawks. So the Atlanta Hawks, man, tonight the season ended. They went 40-42, and they lost in the play-in as the eighth seed. It's not good to not make the playoffs when you are a top 8 seed. It rarely happens, but it happened tonight with the Hawks, man. So with it, came just the question of like, what do you do with the Hawks? Like, and instead of being like frustrated or anything like that, like my initial thoughts was like, okay, how do you fix it? Because I think regardless of what happened, like the Hawks weren't going to go far, right? And I think they find themselves in no man's land, and they've been in no man's land for the past 5 years. And so a lot of other teams are like in similar positions, spots of no man's land. I think the way that the NBA is set up right now is literally for, any team that of the cream of the crop with 2-3 superstars on the roster. You're kind of in no man's land, just kind of waiting to see what it's going to take to get into that cream of the crop group, that 1%. OKC has done it in the past couple of years. Cleveland has done it in the past couple of years. Even to a certain extent, Denver has done it in the past couple of years. And you look at what happened with those teams. Well, Jokic just eventually developed into one of the greatest players of all time. And, the pieces around him, just developed and peaked at the right time too when they won that first championship. With OKC, it started with Russell Westbrook. They had to have Russell Westbrook there to recruit Paul George. And so, bringing on Paul George gave him that asset to trade for a SGA. And then SGA blooms in addition to all the other draft capital that they had to get guys like Chet Holmgren, J-Dub, both Jalen Williams, et cetera, et cetera. Like, so that's what it was. It started with Russell Westbrook recruiting Paul George. Denver is the only situation out of all of these guys that didn't happen with a trade, like where all of this started off with the trade. So I say all of this to say the Hawks don't have time in the Trae Young era to draft a guy like Jokic and hope that he develops into Jokic 4 or 5 years later. They don't have time with that for Trae Young. Trae Young, his last year before he can option to become a free agent is next season. So he's eligible for an extension this offseason, but I don't know, and I don't think he should sign the extension this offseason. He should be like, yeah, put the cards in the Hawks court. What are you guys going to do to keep me here? And I don't blame them at all, because it's like they're literally just in the same cycle for the past 5 seasons. You have to do something. So the first time that the Hawks ever took a swing for Trae Young in the Trae Young era was another point guard, DeJounte Murray. And even if he was another point guard, it still kind of made sense, because it was like DeJounte was an all-star at the time when they traded for him. Plus, he had a little more height and he played defense. A lot of the attacks on Trae early on in his career was his defense. I know there's a viral clip of Trae going around in overtime right now, not boxing out Davion Mitchell, and then just kind of standing around as Mitchell kind of runs around the court and puts up his second 3 attempt. But for the most part, Trae's defense has gotten a lot better this season. Not even this season, the past 2-3 seasons. He even like dove on the floor for a ball in the fourth quarter during to come back to even tie up the game to send it to overtime and things of that sort. Overtime, Miami won't miss him, man. Like what do you do when you talk about defensive player of the year, everything like that candidate, Dyson Daniels. Dyson Daniels switches on to Tyler Hero after he makes the first couple of shots of overtime, hand in his face, and he's still making it. You can't do nothing about that. Like a lot of people say, defensive perimeter defense. If you're watching the game, if a guy has his hand in the face and he drains the shot, it ain't nothing you could do about that. Set foul. We're going to tackle him to make sure he don't hit the shot. So, anyways, DeJounte Murray was the first time that the Hawks took a swing at anything during the Trae Young era. On top of that, if DeJounte was Paul George for Russell Westbrook, right, for Trae Young in Atlanta, what Paul George was for Russell Westbrook in OKC, what they got back instead of SGA, what they got back was Dyson Daniels. And Dyson Daniels was a great get along with the Lakers draft pick for DeJounte Murray and what he was at that point of his career, what he is at this point of his career and stuff like that. It was a great get. But Dyson ain't SGA. You know what I'm saying? Like there's just limitations there. It just is what it is. So it's like, okay, you kind of missed on that in terms of being like on the OKC trajectory to take that next step and things of that sort. Out of all the years, you get the number 1 draft pick and a pretty average draft class. You get Zachary Ricochet, and for the most part, he's looked like a role player. He hasn't looked much different than DeAndre Hunter, even though his stats have been much better than DeAndre Hunter's. DeAndre Hunter had 2 30-point games with the Hawks in a few seasons, and I think about like 4.5 seasons he was with the Hawks. He had 2 30-point games, or it was something like that. No, if he got drafted at 19, and it's 2024, then he was with the Hawks for 4.5 seasons. So 4.5 seasons with the Hawks, he had 2 30-point games, and then he had a 30-point game in Cleveland. So he's had 3 career 30-point games. Zachary Ricochet has had 4 in his rookie season alone. Cam Reddish had 2 30-point games with the Hawks, and he was there for a couple seasons. Yeah, Cam was there in 2019, got drafted, got traded like 2022, I want to say. So he was there for like 2.5 seasons, and Hunter was there 4.5 seasons. So that's 5 seasons and then 2 more, 7 seasons. So 7 seasons combined, Cam Reddish, DeAndre Hunter, 4 30-point games, 4 30-point games, and Zachary Ricochet's lone rookie season. So like, yeah, it looks like it's a notch up above from DeAndre Hunter. It looks like it's what Cam Reddish was supposed to be. A lot of times else, you have a situation like this in the play-in where you have 2 playing games and the kid only scores 10 combined points. You can't do that as a number 1 pick. And nobody's calling him out for it because like nobody was talking about him this year as a number 1 pick. So it was like when he was doing good things, a lot of Hawks fans were like, why is no one talking about the number 1 pick scoring 39 points? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it was a big thing, right? Why is nobody talking about him scoring 38 points? But then when he does something like this, score 10 points in the 2 most important games of the year, then it's like, ain't nobody complaining about the lack of coverage he's getting then. Imagine if Zion did that. Bro, what? Imagine if Victor Wembanyama did that, bro. What? Imagine if who's some other recent number 1 picks, but like imagine if those guys did it. Like the talk would be nonstop. Zachary Ricochet gets a pass for some reason, for whatever reason. And I don't even want to hear, oh, well, you know, they don't draw up plays for him. I've watched literally probably 90% of the Hawks games this season. Ricochet, while he might not bring the ball up and just dribble the ball all the time, bro has where he comes off screens, he runs around, he stays off ball, everything like that, running around the court. He gets the ball a considerable amount of times. Like he gets the ball enough to score what he kind of needs to score, especially in big games. Like in these playing games, he's both gotten the ball a lot of times. And when he gets the ball, he shoots. He's not scared to shoot because they've instilled the confidence in him, and he had a couple high scoring games early on in his career. So he shoots the ball a lot. And I know people were saying with tonight against the Heat, he only played like 16 minutes. He played 29 minutes the game before against the Magic. He only had 7 points. He played 29 minutes. See? So it's like Ricochet, okay, you hit on the number 1. You're not getting any more help. People aren't coming into Atlanta. People aren't begging to come to. Ricochet has to be a number 1 pick. Like he has to. He has no room to develop and be a normal regular rookie and stuff like that. Like he has to, because Trae Young is in the I want to win stage. He's at the end of his contract. You know what I'm saying? It just is what it is. Going back to it, bro. All right, so you're Paul George, right? You're Paul George in OKC for Russell Westbrook for Trae Young. This is DeJounte Murray. Your return for DeJounte Murray when you traded him was not SGA, but it was Dyson Daniels. Okay, Dyson Daniels overachieved in his role this year. And you show him if he's given adequate playing time that he can be a decent role player, a decent rotational player for your team moving forward. All right. You missed out on your SGA for Dyson. Who's Chet Holmgren? If Chet Holmgren is supposed to be Zachary Ricochet, he ain't necessarily Chet Holmgren. All right. So there's that. And then your J-Dub, your Jalen Williams is probably Jalen Johnson. Jalen Johnson, your Jalen Williams can't stay healthy. Okay, that's an issue as well. He doesn't get nearly enough of the credit of the smoke and the criticism that Zion gets for playing the same amount of games. And it's like, oh, well, Zion, he's just expected to be LeBron James. And like, I get it, but it's like, geez, at this point, when you're just talking about all-stars missing time, and he did play at an all-star level this year, even if he's not officially an all-star. Jalen Johnson can't stay healthy. Like, it's an issue. Jalen Johnson not being able to stay healthy is an issue. Zachary Ricochet disappearing at times and looking nothing more than just an above average role player in the NBA is a problem as a number one pick. These are things that people should have problems with if you are a follower of the Atlanta Hawks, because if you're not, if you're just cool with it, you're just going to continue to get this. And you've seen it for yourself for the last 5 years. Landry Fields trading Bogey and Hunter at the deadline were both good moves, because the Hawks probably would have been in the exact same spot they're in right now tonight had they had those two guys. And at the same time, financially, they would have been over the cap. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you're going into the luxury tax for an average play-in team. They might have gotten out of the play-in with Dre and Bogey, but that's like the ceiling. We would have got out the play-in, lost some 5 games in the first round. It's not worth it. So it's like now you have money, okay. You have draft assets. Thanks to the Memphis Grizzlies winning, you have the chance to have 2 first-round draft picks this year. So you have 2 first-round draft picks. You have Jalen Johnson. You have Onyeka Okongwu. Who else? Who else is like? I think that's pretty much it in terms of like what you have that people will want in a trade, to trade for a big name. Those are the only assets that you have right now. Those 2 first-rounders. And I don't want to say Dyson because I feel like it defeats the purpose. Dyson and Trae defeats the purpose, in my opinion. So yeah. Jalen Johnson, Onyeka Okongwu. If you trade Okongwu, now you kind of have to get a big, you know what I'm saying? So if you say Jalen Johnson, say okay, all right. I think this is the big trade that you have to swing for the fences for this, because the Hawks have to swing for the fences this offseason. Like, they have to. And not to say that they haven't in the past, but they literally need to do a big move. The same way that they swung for the fences with DeJounte and it didn't work out, but like they got Dyson Daniels and stuff out of it. You have to swing for the fences again this offseason. I say you put together the package of the 2 first-rounders, Jalen Johnson, and Onyeka Okongwu for Giannis. It has to be that, because you can also do something where you do Jalen Johnson for Zion straight up. And I don't know how the money lines up, because I know Jalen just signed the $100 million extension. I'm not sure how much Zion's getting out. I think it's like 131. Let me see. Contract. No, his is a little bit more than that. It's 197. So you'll have to probably add in the big that they got, the Cody Zeller guy. I think Cody Zeller is the one that they have on the Hawks. Yeah, Cody Zeller. So now if you have, was he traded? Let me see if he's still on the Hawks. Let me see. I'm trying to see if he's even on the Hawks. Or did he get traded? He got traded to the Rockets. Okay. So they already traded Cody Zeller. So they already traded Cody Zeller. But I'm just thinking of like a money piece that you can add alongside Jalen Johnson to get the Zion deal done. Because but this is also like a part of like, what do you do if you're the Pelicans? You keep Zion and you give it one more go with Joe Dumars, and then you give up on them after this year. Like this year should be it for Zion if you're in New Orleans. But if you're in Atlanta, just on the outside looking in, okay, what do we need to do? Atlanta needs to swing for the fences with the big star this offseason. Like there's no more. You have to put all the chips in and give it a go, because 5 consecutive years of the playing, there's no more draft guys in development and wait for the time is run up. Like you have to trade for a superstar. The only superstar on the market with a name or that's even connected to the market that's being talked about is Zion. I mean, if you want to say technically Kevin Durant, that's it. So it's like Kevin Durant, I don't think that's going to really help him much because you're going to have to trade like a Ricochet for Kevin Durant. If you replace Ricochet with Kevin Durant, you literally just improve yourself to a second round team, right? You need like a younger star like a Zion, like a Giannis, who's not necessarily just on the younger side anymore. He's 30 now, but still, he's a guy that can probably go for another decade. Giannis can, and things of that sort. So Zion's actually on the market. He's the only one on the market, but I think in the age of NBA post Luka, there's literally nothing off limits. So you have to do something that people aren't talking about and come up with the package to pull that. That's why I said Onyeka, Jaylen Johnson, your 2 first-round picks, if the Kings pick conveys. The Hawks can only get the Kings pick if the Kings finish no higher than 13 in the lottery. If the Kings finish 12th in the lottery, the pick goes to the Kings. It stays with the Kings. But if the pick is 13, which there's a 94% chance of happening, then it stays with the Hawks. And now they have 2 first-round picks because they already have the pick from the Lakers, a la from the Pelicans, a la from Anthony Davis trade from the Pelicans to the Lakers this season. So it's like, you have to do it, bro. I think that's the Hawks' only option. Is offer that to Milwaukee before the draft. Hope they say yes. If they say no, you go for Zion. You go Jaylen Johnson and whatever else we need to have the money lined up for Zion. Or you go I think the biggest mistake that Landry Fields made, this is a whole nother point. The biggest mistake Landry Fields made in his tenure as the general manager is reportedly turning down Pascal Siakam in a trade, leaving the negotiation tables with Toronto because he didn't want to include Kobe Buffkin. They literally thought that Kobe Buffkin was going to turn into an SGA type player after watching him play in College Park. And that was the biggest miss for the Hawks. Kobe Buffkin has been the biggest miss for the Hawks. I'm not even saying Kobe Buffkin's a bad basketball player, but he doesn't play. It's the same thing. Like the Jaylen Johnson, like all the criticism that Zion should be getting, except for off the court stuff. On the court stuff, it's the exact same thing as Jaylen Johnson. I mean, Jaylen Johnson, people have never said, oh, he's out of shape, he's fat. But then, like, that's literally it in terms of just like pure injuries and stuff like that. So it's like the Hawks, they're in purgatory, bro. And the only way to get out of purgatory, you can do a draft and we'll see if this guy develops into something in 5 years. You can do that. Houston Rockets, right? They just were bad. Drafted a lot of guys for a lot of years. Hit on 2 of them, Alperen Sengun and Jalen Green. And I guess you can say they hit also on Jabari Smith and Amin Thompson. And then they traded for a vet. No. Did they trade for Van Vliet? No, I think Van Vliet signed, and I think Dylan Brooks signed. So it's like, so you just brought in 2 vets for the rotation, and that took you alongside with the guys that just developed and everything like that through good drafting after being bad for a long time. So it's like, if you're gonna keep Trae, you have to literally bring a star next to him to make it work. Because if you're just drafting and hoping the guys develop into something, into the help for Trae, it's not gonna work. And Trae knows that. Everybody knows that. Everybody knows that. It's been 5 years in the plan. It ain't about to happen for the Hawks. So Hawks have to swing for the fences this offseason. Like I said, Zion, man, if the Heat will come off anybody, but I don't think the Heat don't come off nobody. Pat Riley don't come off anybody, but a KL Ware would be amazing. Like, how many teams around the league would love a KL Ware? All of them. All of them would want a KL Ware, but a guy like a KL Ware, you know, I'm trying to think of other young talent that's just like, oh man, like this is the person that you need to, because if Trae's a guard, you kind of need a wing or a big that's just going like take it to that next level. Brandon Miller, no. Like, I think he's going to be really good, but he's not there right now, and that's exactly what you're facing right now with the Hawks. Who's the wing? Hold on, let me just look at the leading points, the points per game leaders. Points per game leaders. We'll do that. All right. We'll just go from here. All right, points. So Anthony Edwards, I don't think Minnesota's not letting go of Ant, especially to go to his hometown. I know a lot of people bring that up a lot, but I just don't see that happening. Cade, Detroit isn't letting go of him because they just got good. Tatum, the whole Tatum Brown breaking up thing, I think all of that was kind of over with after they won a championship. Okay, Durant. Do you just like say forget the future and go for? I just don't think that that's enough to help them win. Because Durant, I feel like it's just going to be like, okay, he boosts you up from a playing team to a second round exit team. You need something that's going. Lillard, no. Booker, no. Jaylen Brunson, no. Curry, no. Karl Anthony Towns. Karl Anthony Towns would have been good for the Hawks, but he just got traded. He ain't about to get traded again. Bron, no. Trae himself. Franz Wagner would be great. And you would say, Orlando's on the come up. Orlando's this. Why would they do that? Why would Dallas trade Luka? I don't think like it's only a few things off the table. And I think it's like if it was your first year being good. It wasn't Orlando's first year being good this year. And it wasn't Franz Wagner's first year being good this year. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's a Luka type of like, why would they do that? I would ask about Franz Wagner. Wagner. You know what I'm saying? Nudge him, see what's going on. Donovan Mitchell. They had too good of a regular season to give up on it now. Tyler Hero. Miami might do it. I'm not gonna lie, bro. Miami might just do it for Tyler Hero. Like, they might give him up, bro. De'Aaron Fox just got to San Antonio. Zach LaVine. Does he get you to the next level? No. It didn't happen for Chicago, and it didn't happen for Sacramento. You got your answer right there. James Harden. James Harden is the system, 100%. Does he work next to Trae Young? No, they play the same game. DeMar DeRozan. I think DeMar DeRozan would be good if you can get DeMar DeRozan and somebody else. Like, if you could get DeMar DeRozan and Jaren Jackson Jr., I know Memphis loves Jaren Jackson Jr. and Jaren Jackson Jr. loves Memphis. But if you could do something like that, now you're cooking with some grease. The gap in center, like the gap in center talent is so huge, bro. Right now, like I feel like it used to be. No, not necessarily, because it used to be Dwight and then everybody else, and then it was like DeMarcus Cousins, everybody else. So I feel like that's kind of on par right now with. Oh no, because you have Embiid. Embiid's there with Jokic, but Embiid didn't play this year. Okay, the Hawks. You're going to have to look at Embiid, bro. Embiid's in the rumors and everything like that. And I know a lot of people saying no and everything. But I think you have to look at an Embiid. You have to look at a Zion. All the guys that don't play but are superstars and stuff like that, because you just have to try something, bro. Like even Philly tries something. Like Philly has literally always put something next to Embiid. They got after Ben Simmons, they got James Harden. After James Harden, they got Paul George. You know what I'm saying? And in the meantime, it's like, okay, Maxey developed into an all-star. You know, that's why you do it. Okay, Zachary Ricochet develops into an all-star. But you trade for a guy because it doesn't make any sense. You can't say we don't have the assets, we don't have the pieces. When other teams like the Sixers, like the Clippers, like the Lakers can just trade for help whenever they want. Even before that, in Dallas, when Luka was in Dallas, when he needed help, okay, we'll figure out something. We'll get Kyrie Irving for you. We'll try to figure out. That is just what happens with other teams. For Jalen Brunson, okay, yeah, we'll get Mikal Bridges and Karl Anthony Towns for you. There you go. Trae has gotten that once, DeJounte Murray. And that's the problem here. That's the problem here, bro. But they need to try something. Sabonis would be amazing. Domantas Sabonis in Atlanta would be amazing. But who would you trade for him? I'm not trading Jalen Johnson for Sabonis. I'm not. Sabonis plays more, and he was like the league leader, right? He was the league leader in rebounds, right? I know some people were trying to dispute that. He played 70 games. Let me see the rebounding leaders, bro. All right, ESPN want to freeze up now. Okay, yeah. He led the league in rebounding, bro. Walker Kessler too, bro. See, okay. I'm glad I saw that. Who needs to be on a Hawks big board? If you had to rank it, power rank it, this is what I'll name the title of the video. The 5 players the Hawks need on their big board. Let me draft up a doc so you guys can see it while I'm thinking about it and stuff like that. Draft up this doc. Google Docs. Let me close out all these little pop-ups talking about best of AI. I didn't want to get into the doc. All right, here we go. 5 players. Hawks offseason big board. Okay. Number 1, I'm gonna say Giannis. All right. Should I go with who's on? Okay. In rumors. We'll go in rumors first. This is the in rumors list. Anybody who has already been listed in rumors, quote unquote, realistic gets. All right. So first, you got to say Zion Williamson. Second, Sabonis. Who else is in talks? People say, okay. I'll put Kevin Durant down here. Bradley Beal down here. These are just people who are in trade talks who I feel like the Hawks, that if the Hawks got them, that'll be at least like, yo, look at us. We are trying, Trae. We have tried to get you somebody else. Walker Kessler has been in no trade talks. Did Lauri Markkanen get traded again this year? Because he's always in those talks. He's always in some trade talks, bro. Especially if Utah gets the number 1 pick and they get Cooper Flag, Markkanen might be out of here, bro. Because he's the same player as Flag. Flag just more athletic, but I mean, like they just same height, things of that sort. Shout out Donovan Clingan. A lot of people was like Hawks should have took him. But I mean, Ricochet good enough. I ain't gonna hold you. Let me see. Who else? You got Ant here, Brandon Miller, James Harden, Cade Cunningham. See, Cade Cunningham would be good, but like this Detroit's first year being good. They're not gonna trade him. Not yet. They gotta be like, you know what I'm saying, first round exit for 3 years in a row for them to start bringing up those rumors. Karl Anthony Towns, Zubac, no. Walker Kessler. He's not in any rumors. I guess you guys. John Collins is not taking it to the next level. Maybe John Collins can back up. Would he want to back up? I'll say John Collins ? If you keep on Jalen Johnson, so Jalen Johnson gets hurt. Now you got, you know what I'm saying? Jalen Johnson gets hurt. Now you got John Collins, whatever. So these are the people in rumors. Now this is LUKA-LIKE aim. LUKA-LIKE aim to prove to pull a trade that nobody's seen coming. That one has to start with Giannis. Who else you going with? I'm gonna put this number. This 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Number 1, you have to say Giannis. Number 2, if you can get any player in the league to come play with Trae Young, I guess we say Anthony Edwards. The homecoming thing. Okay. Hold on. Let me share this tab. Anthony Edwards, number 2. Who I said somebody earlier. I can't remember. I was like, them for sure. I do not remember who it was though. Oh, Sabonis. I think it was Sabonis. Vucevic, no, definitely no. I'm looking at this, by the way. Julius Randle, no. Scotty Barnes, they're not getting rid of it. He like all they got. Shout out RJ. RJ averaging 21 points. Norman Powell, shout out to Norman Powell, but no. JB, Jaylen Brown. I'll say Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown. Şengün, Austin Reeves. Who would you trade Austin Reeves for, though? That's the point of this, huh? Like, not thinking about the people you can get, but. Oh, Franz Wagner. Franz Wagner. And then I'd say Domantas Sabonis. So okay. So for the Hawks, this is who you need to go after. In terms of the rumored people on the rumor mill, everything like that, these are people you need to look after. And in terms of you just thinking like Luka, like nobody saw Luka to the Lakers happening. Offseason trade targets 2025. I'll put AKA mission Keep Trae or save Trae Atlanta era. And that's what it is, man. That's what it is, bro. That's what it is. That's what these guys have to do, bro. It just is what it is. You have to go for this. Zion at the top, Sabonis, Kevin Durant. It's in, you know, you got to make a big deal. You have to make a big deal. Oh, I didn't say Walker Kessler. I'll say Walker Kessler. And then I'll say Lauri Markkanen. So like pretty much all the Utah Jazz for real. Who did I get something else? Let me see. I'll see. Okay. Salute. Elite. Yeah. Okay. I've spent definitely enough time on this. But yeah, I don't know because it's a puzzle. Instead of just being like this year, instead of being like, it's like, okay, how do you fix the team? Because you have to fix the team. Team can't stand pat. If you stand pat, Trae's gonna like if Trae doesn't opt out next season, if they stand pat, just say you get the 2 first-round draft picks, right? The Kings land at 13 in the lottery. Hawks get 2 first-round draft picks. You get the 2 first-round draft picks. I'm gonna let you know what's gonna happen. Them 2 jokers gonna play in College Park all season, unless you have what you had this year, where everybody got hurt. Even this year, everybody got hurt. They second-round picks still didn't get called up from College Park. He wasn't even on the roster. He was just on College Park. So now he got to get a roster spot. And it's crazy because they brought on Jacob Toppin, Obi Toppin's brother, before they even called up the Nikola dude, the second round pick they had. So I don't know. I'm just looking at all of this stuff. But if you stand pat, you're going to draft the 2 kids in the first round. They might turn out to be good role players rookie year. That's overachieving as a rookie. But more than likely, they won't play much. And since they won't play much, it adds nothing to the team. So the team stays the exact same that they were this year. They say the exact same. So with that, Trae's going to leave. You're going to make the play-in once again for the 6th straight season, and you're going to lose again in the play-in. It just is what it is. You're going to lose or win in the play-in. Win in the play-in and lose in the first round. So the Hawks literally have to do this. They have to do one of these 12 options. And one of them is the same option. So you're going to have to do one of these 11 options. I'll take out Sabonis' name on the LUKA-LIKE game. And we'll do it like that. That makes sense. So now you have even 5. You have to do one of these 10 options, bro. Wait, hold on. 11 options. My math is all off. But yeah, you have to do that. You just have to. Or Trae's gone. So, yeah, that's what I'll name it. The 11 moves the Hawks need to make to keep Trae Young. And, yeah, that's it. That's all I have for that. So, I guess I'll get into the regular live now, 50 minutes in.
That's for losers, man. I don't get involved in that stuff, but
Angel Rashad Milligan rolling out.
That's a good question.
We can't ask Rashad questions.
Hey, Rashad.